Hi, and welcome to the Wohlers audio series. My name is Noah Mosto. In today's episode, Terry Wohlers is talking with Nora Touré, the founder of Women in 3D Printing. This week, the Type Conference is happening with an inspirational all-women agenda. Make sure to check it out. Let's get started.
I am excited to introduce to you Nora Touré. Nora was with Sculptio for 8 years, a company that was acquired by BASF, a large German materials producer. She became vice president of strategy at Valdi Group, a company that provides heavy industry with on-demand production solutions. Nora is currently director of sales at Fast Radius. She may be best known as founder, chairwoman, and former president of Women in 3D Printing. Welcome, Nora.
Thank you, Terry. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. I'd like to talk about a few things today and hear from you on more about your background, your views on additive manufacturing and 3D printing, and then women in 3D printing, and then maybe a closing topic. So about your background, how would you describe Fast Radius and what's your role at the company?
Sure, great question to start. So Fast Radius provides on-demand manufacturing services. And so we're doing this across four main technologies, additive manufacturing, of course, CNC machining, injection molding, and caster retain primarily. So as the director of sales, I manage a team of account executives. And so I'm helping our account executive, helping our customers select basically the most adequate technology and materials out of our existing portfolio. So that was a very short way of explaining it, but that is what we do.
Great. Can you discuss some of the most interesting work at the company?
Sure thing. We do have a lot. However, we're not allowed to share everything, obviously, based on confidentiality agreements we have our customers. However, we have a number of very interesting case studies available for everyone to see on our website. One of my personal favorites is a project we did with Advanced Construction Robotics. So it's a robotics company. They first came to us for prototyping needs. It was actually parts made out of the MGF technology from HP, and so they developed basically a new construction robot and needed prototypes. They then quickly open up on their additional needs, and we're currently serving them through additive, CNC machining, as well as retain casting. So a very like it's a case study, so it's one of our best best flagship project out there, because basically we're serving them across the board. I think the only technology we're not serving them on is injection molding currently, and basically partnering with us has helped the company ACR quickly scale production of their robot line, while continuing to improve, the robot's performance, because they were able to have, a one-stop shop partner in Fast Radius. So this for me again is one of my favorite, also because it is robotics, and it always has robotics for me. Like I still have my stars in my eyes each time I come across a robotic project. So again, this is one of my favorites. We do have quite a few more on the website as well to share, but I will let everyone just go there on their own time and check them out.
Yeah. Now the company's based where?
Fast Radius?
Yes.
Yeah, we're in Chicago.
In Chicago. Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you're located in the Denver area?
Correct. Yes. So HQ is in Chicago, but we have a lot of team members who are working remotely, just like I do.
Your English is beautiful, but I detect a bit of a French accent.
Hmm.
Maybe English is your second language. Is that right?
Correct. It's actually even my third.
Third.
Yeah,
Wow.
I have French as my for sure like first language. I do speak Dutch from my mom's side, and then English. But English took most of my like this place in my brain over Dutch. So don't ask me anything in Dutch right now. Uh, but yeah, it's actually my third. Yeah,
And you grew up where?
in France. I was born and raised in Paris.
In Paris. Oh,
Hmm.
beautiful. Nice. Very nice. Well, let's switch or shift rather to additive manufacturing and 3D printing, terms used interchangeably, as you know. Where did you first hear about additive manufacturing, and when did the light bulb switch on for you?
Oh yeah, I do remember my aha moment. That was actually in the office of Clément Moreau, the CEO of Sculpteo. As you said in the intro, like I started my career at Sculpteo, and so basically during the interview process, so I had never heard about 3D printing before, and so that was 2010. Late 2009 anyway, doesn't matter, 2009 2010. So I had never heard about 3D printing, was just freshly graduating, and I had a background in law. So actually, initially, I wanted to become a lawyer, and then anyway, something happened in my career. I wanted to switch to sales, and so that was basically my real first experience both in additive manufacturing and sales. Anyway, now I'm going a bit away off the point. But anyway, I was in Clément Moreau's office, and so we were going through the interview process, talking mostly about sales. And so at some point, he's asking me if I actually want to see the printers, because he probably saw that I wasn't responding really well, not necessarily understanding really the technology. I mean, I understood the sales part, but I didn't really understand what I would be selling. And actually, we had printers on the little rooftop of the office. So it was a covered rooftop, obviously. So going to the production center, very small at the time, and that's where I get to see. At the time, it was called a ZIT Corp, so the 3D printing color machines. And so they were printing, I don't know, a bunch of figurines in there. And that's when I had my aha moment. I really understood what we are talking about and the potential for it. And so I think from there, I was okay. Give me that damn contract. I'm signing. We're doing this. And that was really the start of it all for me.
And it becomes contagious. I mean, it has for me personally. I mean, it's once it's in your blood,
Oh yeah.
it's there. It's there. It's hard to get rid of it. You don't want to. You want to
Hmm.
do even more in the area. So I don't know. That's been my experience. Has it been yours?
Absolutely. However, I mean, with that being said, I've always felt like additive was a great start for me to get into manufacturing. But I've always been interested, and I don't know if it's because I was on the sales side and got to see, the projects from up close, and seeing our customers asking for more than additive. So I've personally always been interested in hearing as well about other more classic manufacturing processes, and which is what led me to join Fast Radius actually, because I knew it was going beyond additive manufacturing, even though it was, starting from it, and we have an additive manufacturing factory in Chicago, in other places as well, but mostly in Chicago. And so I was definitely interested in hearing what else was out there in terms of manufacturing and the relationship between additive and the other more classic, I would say, more traditional manufacturing processes out there. So for sure, I mean, I'm 100% into additive. Couldn't work anywhere else. However, I love also to see the other technologies out there and see how they work together.
Yeah, that's key. Working together, as you know, for it to be a real production solution, it's not standalone. It's a part
Hmm.
of the process, from IT to, of course, all the downstream processes. Finishing, coloring, texturing, all those things. In the case of metals, CNC machining, heat treatment, and so forth. And so, yeah, it really is. Uh, I think a hook
Hmm.
for young people to become interested in manufacturing. Maybe they don't view it as manufacturing, but it is. Even the small desktop 3D printers, they're making something, and once you become attracted and interested in it, then it can lead to other areas in product development and manufacturing, which I think is great. That's what we want, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what excites you the most about the future of additive manufacturing?
Ooh, that is a hard question, because everything excites me about about it. Um, No, I think like we've been talking for years now about having machines that would, be faster, more reliable, so that they can actually really compete with the more traditional manufacturing processes. I think we're slowly getting there. I mean, with each new machine, each new software that comes out, I think it's one step closer to that grail, that holy grail, I should say. So no, I'm really excited about really everything, every new release that we're seeing in the industry right now. But I would say, like, more than the technology, as you know, like putting my woman in 3D printing hat on my head now, I'm most interested in the people and seeing the structure of our industry, seeing who is joining. Like, and it's extremely interesting to see more and more newcomers coming from various industry, coming from very large companies who are now building our industry. We are staying away from being this makers community, and again, I'm not saying this in a pejorative way. Like, the makers community is really where it started from, and this is still like very at the heart, I would say, of additive manufacturing. However, it's good as well to seeing being more and more structured as an industry, and this is extremely exciting for me.
Yeah, that's great to hear. You mentioned women in 3D printing, so I'd like to shift to it if we could. How did the idea come about? With the formation of the organization, how did that develop? Was that I think it was your idea? Is that right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and that was 7 years ago. So I had already moved in the US through Sculpteo. And so I've always been interested in people's story, as I just said. And so something I quickly understood from our industry is that most people that already back in the days were coming from other industries and previous careers and different lives. So they all have different backgrounds coming from other industries because there is no like 3D printing studies. I mean, now we see more and more curriculum integrating additive manufacturing, but back in the days, that wasn't the case at all. And I was particularly interested in the stories of the women in our field because I felt a little bit isolated at the time. Just for context, so as I said, I had moved in San Francisco for Sculpteo, so I was the general manager for the office over there, and there weren't that many women around me who were doing the same thing as I did, who were working in the same industry. And so the few I had in my network, I loved their stories and I wanted to share them, hopefully to attract more women to join the industry. And that's how it all started. So I basically started a blog. I'm no journalist. I had really no idea what I was doing. To be honest, I hadn't even Googled woman in 3D printing like this to see if the name already existed. I just wanted to start a very small, low key blog, almost just for myself, and so then it really started. But that's really the starting point of women 3D printing. It was a blog, and my idea originally was to share one story a month. Obviously we really outgrown that pace. Had to quickly switch to one story a week, and even that wasn't enough. But anyway, that's really how it started.
Yeah, interesting. So 7 years ago. So can you give a I don't know, a little summary of that 7 year history of women in 3D printing? I know that's difficult to do,
Yes.
maybe, but maybe give a few highlights along the way.
For sure. Yeah, yeah, no, I can do that. It is extremely hard though. Um, but basically, so those stories I was sharing on the blog led actually into in-person meetings. So a few of the women I had highlighted on the blog realized they didn't know each other, even though they were living in the same city. And so they asked if we could meet. And I thought, okay, let's do that. And so we had our first meeting in San Francisco. As I said, very low key. We met in a bar, had some drinks, had some fun, talked about our careers. I made a post about it on social media, and before I know it, a month later, we have the same exact event happening in Paris with women who had not necessarily been featured on a website, but who wanted to get to see each other. And after that, we do London. So, it grew like this for the first 6 months with like random cities asking me if they could meet under the Woman in 3D Printing umbrella. And obviously, I said yes, because I think this is awesome. And then it really grew. So like now we have presence in over 30 countries. I think it's something like 80 chapters to this day, where they meet regularly. So we try to add a little bit more structure to it. So they usually meet once a month. Some of them are sponsored by local additive companies. So anyway, we added more structure, but then the spirit stays the same. So it's really like mostly informal gathering, get to know each other. All of those events are open to men. Interesting fact is that we have about 30 to 50% sometimes of men coming to our events. Yeah, and actually I think we have 30% of males in our global community. We currently have about 30,000 people following women 3D printing across the globe. And yeah, I would say about 30% of those are men. That might make us the most diverse group out there, weirdly enough. But anyhow, so that is like first milestone was really get to meet in person. Obviously, with COVID, things have changed. However, we do this online now, and I have to say, like it continues to grow. It has even like grown even more during the pandemic, and I think because people needed that contact even more so than before. So even though it was virtual, our virtual events have really, really like grew by a lot. And so as we grew the community over the years, we also started putting more content together. And so we're providing an annual diversity for additive manufacturing report. And so this one has seen also a lot of success because we wanted to really show the progress of diversity within our industry, and that's why we're doing this annually. And this is not sponsored by any company out there. It's really something we do on our own. And so we also started job boards to offer a place for hiring companies to access more female talents. And all of this, I would say, naturally led to our annual conference type, which is now our signature event with over 150 speakers in 2021, 184 in 2022. And so they're all female speakers.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. I applaud you for the emphasis on diversity and publishing the report on it. We just need more diversity in the workplace and 3D printing and in particular. Having gone to industry events for more than 3 decades, it's just too few of women. It's mostly white males. It depends on where in the world you go, but if it's here in the U.S., that's often the
Yeah.
case. I would estimate in the past, on average over the past 3 decades, probably 10% women, something like that. Maybe at some events more than that, but some fewer. It's remarkable how few. But I'm just thrilled to see this organization grow so large so quickly. I mean, 7 years, that's a short amount of time for it to grow to 80 chapters and what'd you say, 30,000 or 20? I
Yeah, we're
had
reaching
seen
30,000
23.
now.
How many?
We're reaching 30,000. The website hasn't been updated, I have to admit, in a quite some time. So 23,000 was our last number, but now we were getting closer to 30.
So 30,000 members.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's impressive. That really is. So that makes it one of the largest 3D printing communities in the world by
I would think
far.
so. I would think so.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of one that would be as big or bigger. It depends on how you define community. There's some events like Form Next.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, they're not exclusive from one another, obviously,
True.
and so our definition of member might be more flex than other communities out there. Um, but never mind. I mean, it's 30,000 people who are acquainted and who go regularly to our events all around the globe.
So speaking of involvement, attending an event, whether it's virtual or in person, how does one get involved, either in an event or in some other way?
Yeah, and that's extremely easy actually. We do have an open form on the website under the Get Involved tab, so everyone can submit a volunteering form, and then someone from our executive team will come back to them and define with them, based on their skills and what they want to do, where they would be the best suited to help volunteering. Because the entire organization is made of volunteers, not just the chapter side and the ambassadors, like all of the executive team, all of the board, all of the type planning community. We are all volunteering. And so we do have more than enough spots, as you can imagine, for volunteers.
Do you have any paid staff, or is everything volunteer?
Not yet. No, no paid staff at this time.
Wow,
We
that's
consider it, as the next stage of women in 3D printing. However, like we're not exactly there at this moment.
that's impressive. It really is a lot of work, though, I'm sure as well. So I understand you recently stepped down as president. That was what
Mhm.
in the last couple of months. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, we made the announcement in December 2021. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that difficult for you because you've been president since the beginning? Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. And no, honestly, it wasn't that difficult. I mean, Christine was the perfect candidate, and she made the decision so much easier on me. For sure, women 3D printing is my professional baby. However, I'm not letting it go. I'm going to stay involved and deeply committed. As the chairwoman of the board, and I remain the founder, obviously. And as I said, this is really a really big teamwork on everything we do. So I will always remain available to Christine and the team, however they might need me. And as I said, Christine is the perfect candidate, and I trust her 100%, even more, to be a great president who can bring us to the next stage of women 3D printing much better than what I would be able to do. So again, that was a no-brainer for me to have Christine as the next president.
So if we can look ahead 5 years and then maybe also 10 years, where would you like to see it be in those periods of time?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I think we're doing a pretty good job right now at in terms of awareness of gender diversity needed in our industry. A lot of people have heard about women in 3D printing, know where to find our female leaders, female talents, and I should say women because I want to be really inclusive of everyone. Transgenders as well, part of the community. So really, I should say women as a whole. However, I think we still like within our mission of making our industry more diverse. I think we really have a mission today of bringing it forwards and not just in terms of gender diversity. Our industry really has a long way to go in terms of being really diverse and being able to represent all of the ethnic groups out there. So I would say, and we're gearing towards that already with our DEI missions. I would say in 5 to 10 years from now, you're going to hear from us not only in terms of diversity for gender parity, but also in terms of broader representation of all groups. Um, and that is something we're really close to right now. We know we're a long way. Just within organization, I do recognize that we have an effort to do in having more Black female, for example, being represented at every level of the organization. So that is something we're conscious of, and we are going to make some changes on. I'm not saying tomorrow; that will take a little bit of time. However, again, this is a work in progress and a motion for women printing. So again, to answer your question, I think we're going to go beyond the core woman 3D printing mission of gender diversity and expand a little bit more on diversity as a whole.
Well, congratulations on your success with your career. With companies like Fast Radius and of course before it, Sculptio and others. And also congratulations on your success with women in 3D printing. It really has come a long ways, and I'm excited to watch it grow in the future. And it sounds like you're going to be very much a part of it, which is great. I have one final question in closing.
Mhm.
What is one thing most people do not know about you?
Oh, I've never had that question before. I am. Oh yeah, I have one. I am extremely shy, and it might not sound like it, but I'm actually introvert. And so for me to be out there, and even actually talking to you, it takes a little bit of prep for me. So that is something deeply personal that not a lot of people know because I usually don't come across that. But I've done a lot of work on myself to be where I am currently. But for me to give interviews, especially not in my premier language, is extremely hard. But again, I enjoy it. You can be sure that as soon as we're done here, I'll be extremely proud of myself. Not necessarily about what I said, but just the fact, of accepting and doing this. And I know a lot of women are in the same position as I was once, and this is something you can overcome. So again, that again, very deeply personal, but I feel like it might be time to share about it
Yeah,
because I
well,
know I'm not the only one.
it certainly does not show, and I applaud your willingness to get out there and face the challenge, because I think a lot of people are shy, and especially getting up in front of people, and so you're a pro at what you do. So thank
Thank
you.
you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for your time today, Nora, and maybe we'll have you back at some point in the future.
Yeah, I would love to. Thanks again for having me today.
Thank you for listening to today's episode, and thank you to Nora and the Women in 3D Printing team for helping make this happen. Make sure to subscribe to the Wohlers audio series at Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube. You can also find more information at our website.